How's it going, guys?
Good. How are you?
Matthew's in a car. Got a hot date?
Actually, it's been pretty mild the past week or two, but I wouldn't be surprised. It's only been like hundreds, 105, 110.
Now, Matthew, you're in Scottsdale. The twins are in Denver. They're pretty nice. They're cute. You should get to know each other. Oh, I'm sorry. All right, guys. Welcome to Mastery. I got 1 o'clock top of the hour, 1 o'clock Eastern. Danny Grimes. If you don't know me, glad you're on the Mastery class today. What we do here is this is the Mastery of Real Estate. So we do some role playing, yes. We'll have conversations, yes. However, we want to, I and the rest of the cadre, if they're going to be on, want to teach you some master level concepts. We want to teach you why. We want to teach you how to think more so than what to say. The saying will come once you get the thinking in. Today is July 25th, and what we practice is question-based listening enhanced conversations. And I encourage you, this is going to be recorded and posted to my YouTube channel. If you've not been part of that yet, go to dennysmastery.com. We're over 1,000, working our way up to 1,500. All of these videos are posted, and you can study them, share them, whatever you want to do. So I don't have Louise today, so what we're going to do is probably have Polina help me. And she is one of our mastery level real estate agents in Denver. Is put in the chat something you want to work on, working with a buyer in a certain situation. Maybe you have an appointment coming up you want to practice. Maybe you had one that maybe you would like to do it better. Maybe it didn't turn out the way you want. Maybe you'd like to hear me handle an objection so you can handle the objection. Fair enough. So just put it in the chat and we'll have some fun. Remember, it's recorded. You should go back and study it. So Polina, thanks for helping out, you and Maria. So if there's somebody in the chat ready to go, let's get them up. Let's have a conversation.
Matthew wants to do a listing agreement. Listing agreement too long. So what do you mean, Matt?
Well, for example, I have this listing coming up. She just needs to sign the DocuSign, but I just the listing agreement I put a year. So I just wanted to preempt, what to say if she does say it's like too long. So
all right, so you're going to be the agent?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'm your agent. So, I'm the seller. Hey, I got your listing agreement and in my email DocuSign. I appreciate that. Look, I'm not from here. I don't know real estate contracts. What are the main points in it? All right. So let me ask you. I know to ask about the fee. What's your fee?
So my fee on the listing side, just to mention, I think the Arizona contracts, they don't include the buyer side like percentage, so we just have the seller side. So anyway, yeah, my fee is 3%, which is just industry standard, across the board with real estate.
Okay, now this is mastery, so I don't even have a timer going. This is teaching. So when I asked the question what the fee is, and then you told me what it was, and then you attempted to justify it. You're justifying it out of weakness. Y'all hear me on this? Y'all see what he's doing? What's your name, Matthew?
Matthew.
Matthew. Now this is how you would just. Oh, Matthew's my name, but I was a little bit too young when I was born to name myself. My mother named me. Just answer the question. Fair?
Okay, I understand.
Right, back to role play. So what's your fee?
3%.
What's the total commission?
So total commission. Well, how do you mean?
Okay. Well, I mean, I understand. Last time I sold a house, we had to pay a buyer's agent. So what is that?
So in Arizona, typically after the, I don't know. I don't want to go into explaining the settlement. I don't think I have to, but.
Why don't you answer the question?
Typically, 3% to the buyer.
Okay, so it can be, all right, say, well, that can vary. We can have that discussion. It can go from usually 2 to 3%, but we can have that discussion. What I want you guys to do is get comfortable with the answer so you don't have to be uncomfortable and justify, because then you're moonwalking. Put your thumbs up if you get what I'm saying. All right, number next. All right, so I got that. We'll talk about that later. We talked about pricing on the phone, and you're suggesting that I should be somewhere around the 600 range. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And I see that you put 600. How do you feel about that number?
Well, really, Denny, it's not how I personally feel about that number. You know, I could think the home is worth $10 million, but it's really about what the market will say. And what the market will say is what buyers are willing to pay.
Okay. All right. Again, I'm being a D with you on the phone. Though, would we have most likely have had a conversation about that? I would
Yes.
handle that. Now, that was, you didn't have to worry about justifying it. That was a fine answer. I would handle this like, okay, well, all right, let's take a second and we can go back to the other conversation. I'll tell you what we'll do. I'm going to table that. Let's get everything out on the table. What your questions are, the main points. Okay. We can come back to that in a second. All right. The last thing I have here, Matthew, was the term. 1 year. It's going to take you a year to sell my house. You want a year to sell my house?
Yeah, see, I don't know how to respond to like that sort of objection. So,
Well, an answer could be, yes, I'm brand new. It'd probably take 2 years. Would you give me a 2-year listing agreement? So let me ask you, is it standard in your practice where you are in Scottsdale for a 1-year listing?
well, I was taking the advice of I'm in the PCX coaching program, so
Good
at our
job.
office, and yeah, my coach just said that she always does a year, so I was like, you know, might as well put a year there. But I was thinking 6 months before I asked her, and she said a year, so I thought I'd just lead with that. But
Okay. I've been doing a lot of talking. We have some experienced people here. What is your blink? Now, again, all right, why not 2 years? Why not 5? So if you'd like to add some input to this conversation, just go ahead. I'd come off mute.
Well,
And if you step on someone, just give, we'll do one at a time. Let's all have some input here before I give you my input. Go ahead. Let me hear what you have to say.
Danny, if I may say, there's a lot of things that, I've learned from you and I keep learning from you. And there are things that you learn with experience. If certain framework, like the isolation, like putting everything on the table, if you get comfortable and used with that, it's tremendously helpful though. And a lot of times, when you're a new agent, I believe that you just get caught up with the first objection and you're trying to handle that objection only, and you get tangled up in that, lose confidence. So that's my input. I guess, just like has to get.
What's your input on the 1-year listing? How many people, in fact, in the chat really quick, when you get a listing, what is the normal time frame you put in your normal listing agreement?
Months, pretty much 6 months.
I got a year here from John, 6 months. All right. There's no right or wrong, because basically my listing agreement is only for 7 days. My agreement's 7 days. So it doesn't really matter what the paperwork says. So, all right. So I'm going to go back to role play just a second, and we'll pick up on with another situation. What I don't quite know. I've never sold a house with a year listing agreement. I think that's too long.
oh, we're in the role play right now. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I just don't know how to respond to that sort of
Okay.
thing. Right?
Well, okay, so I'll respond how I respond, because I have one of my guarantees. And again, I believe you guys should develop your own guarantees. Check with your rain man, check with your broker, or whatever, your state law, whatever. One of my guarantees is, I'm going to reverse it. You're the agent or you're the seller, Matt. My listing agreement is, I put my listing agreement is 7 days. Are you okay with that?
Why is it only 7 days?
Well, one of my guarantees is that I guarantee you're going to be happy with me, because if you're not, and you let me know what I'm doing wrong and I can't correct it inside 7 days, I'm going to rip it up. Now, if you want to, we can send listing agreements back and forth every week, or I'll tell you what I normally do is I'll just go out 180 days, round it to the end of the month. By the way, there's a little tip, what do you call it? Factoid tip. Always have your listings expire on the same day of the month. And that way, if you have 20 listings, you don't have to worry about 20 dates on the calendar. And let me give you another tip. Don't make it the end of the month, because seasoned agents know if there's going to be a rush or a flood of expireds, they typically come when? At the end of the month. So make it on the 20th or whatever you want to do. So I go out 120 days. All of my listings expire on the 21st day of the month. That's my birthday. That's profit share day, whatever day you want. So that's how I would answer the question. Now, for you in a year, okay, say, yeah, well, that's for you, that's normal for our office. How do you feel about the year? I would say, rather than justify, that's normal, customary for our team or our office. How do you feel about the year, Matt?
Well, I feel like, why do you need a year? Why is it going to take so long just to sell my house?
Well, it doesn't take that long. In fact, I promise you, I will be listening to the market. And if we listen to the market together, it won't take anywhere near that time. But the speed of the sale, now here, I wonder how many of you guys would say this. The speed of the sale is up to you. All right, I'm going to pause for a moment. This is a mastery concept. Can you have a conversation around and let the seller know that the speed of the sale is on their plate, not yours?
Or are you asking me?
No, not really. I'm asking everybody. Anybody.
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah. The Breckenridge. Huh. How's the snow today? So,
It was 35 degrees this morning.
so the speed of the sale is up to the seller, not you.
Correct.
Okay. Can you defend that? Are you able to have if that is true, and we only have true conversations, are you able to have a conversation with your seller about that? Would you like to take a crack at it, Breckenridge?
Give it a crack. Okay, so our listing agreement is for 6 months, but ultimately the speed of the sale is up to you, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. You're the seller,
Wow.
right?
It's up to us. What do you mean it's up to us?
Well, at the end of the day, you determine the price. We are going to be putting your home on the market at a price that works for you, that's in line with the market. But if you're thinking that you want to push that price to the very upper end, well, we know that homes that are at the very upper end of the market range are likely going to be on the market for 90 to 120 days. However, if you're wanting your home to be sold a little bit quicker, we can choose a strategy that's going to help you get the most money and sell your home the quickest. Would you like to know how we can do that?
I would like to know how you're going to do that.
Yeah, so if we're able to price your home slightly below the current market value today, we know that that brings the most number of eyes to the property. The more eyes that you have on the property, the more showings you have, the more offers you're going to receive. When you have 3, 4, 5 showings in one day, it creates a competitive nature, and we're going to start seeing multiple offers which actually drive the price up. So ultimately, you don't have to be worried about selling for less. We're actually probably going to get you more and sell your home faster by doing it this way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I'm not buying it. So you said the range of value. This is Breckenridge. So You said I should be at 1.5 to maybe 1.6. What do you suggest I list at?
Yeah, so if we want to produce this strategy, or if we want to produce the multiple offers with this strategy, I would suggest that you come on the market around about 1.45. If we come on at this price point, we know that buyers who are looking at properties are going to look at this and go, wow, that looks like a great deal. And that's going to drive that additional activity towards your home over others.
So I know that the Breckenridge, are you part of the Breckenridge group that have been on before? So you've been on these calls before, right?
Yeah, yep.
So can we have a discussion openly with everyone? And I'm not, if I have to do all the talking, guys, I'm gonna take up an offering. So I want you guys to participate. Now, that is a philosophy out there. That's not, and there's a lot of people that use it. That's not my philosophy, but that's not wrong. I think there's a challenge in it, and I'm gonna coach you, and you can accept what you want to accept. A couple different things is.
That's why we're here.
All right. So you said going back to write this down if you're taking notes. Keep your fingerprints off the number.
Say that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Where did you put your fingerprints on the number?
I put it at 1.45 and I should have said a percent below or something like that.
You actually did before that. If we price at the top end of the market, homes are taking 30 or 60 to 90 days.
Oh,
Now
yes.
you're making a prediction.
Okay.
Has anyone on this call ever made that statement and the market changed a little bit and what you had always seen happen no longer happens?
Yeah.
Especially right now.
Yes. And COVID, right? So it's true. So let me ask, and your name is?
I like her voice.
Ann and Jocelyn and Kat. There's three of us here.
Okay, Breckenridge. Okay, Breckenridge. Okay, so if you're going now, the philosophy, if you're going to get the seller to price it low and you want to use that strategy, how could you do it without putting your fingerprints on the number? The market range is 1.5 to 1.6. How how are you going to get me to go low?
Trying to think about how to do it without putting a number in there. Okay, so the market range is 1.6. We know traditionally that when you price your home, at least 2 to 3, can I say percents, or is that going to throw a number in there?
Anytime you put a number in there, it's a prediction. How can you
Okay.
not do that?
I don't know. Teach
Okay.
me.
Anyone want to take a crack at that? Because if you can say, and again, it drives me crazy, people are still using, if you don't have X number of showings and X number of days, that means you're X percent below market value. One size does not fit all. I want to be right all of the time, not part of the time.
Yeah.
So that one way to do that is, okay, so if the market value is, if past sales are showing 1.5 to 1.6, then, and again, sometime during the conversation, this is important, you find out what they think the market's doing. So I'm going to ask you guys at Breckenridge, hey, listen, Miss Seller, there's no wrong answer. Where you are right now in this area of Breckenridge, is the market working in your favor as a seller or working against you?
Okay. Is that a question or is that your line?
No, well, that's a question and my line.
Okay.
I'm role playing.
Am I the seller now?
Yep.
Okay. Based on what I've seen, it's definitely becoming a bit more of a buyer's market, so it's probably working against us.
Now, when you ask that question and they give you the right answer, it's one of those moments, if you listen very carefully, you're going to hear the angels singing the Hallelujah chorus. Why? Because they recognize the market is working against them. When the market's working against them, you have leverage. You can create urgency. In theory, if the market's working against them, get the concept. We want you to know how to think about this. It's Groundhog Day, right? Bill Murray hits the alarm clock. Sonny and Cher are singing, I Got You, Babe, and their house is worth less every day. Therefore, time is not on their side.
Okay.
Now, are you good with that, guys?
Yeah.
Now, sometimes you're going to get them to say, well, I think the market's working in my favor. And I'm going to say, all right, so
More.
you said it's working against you. I'll ask you, why do you say that?
Well, I've seen that, properties there's a lot more competition out there and properties are sitting on the market longer than they have in the past.
So when you ask her that question, then she answers it. Is she not loading your gun?
Yes.
If I can use that metaphor? Or
Absolutely.
waxing your skis? I don't know if that works in Breckenridge. All right, so yeah, you're right. So basically, if the market, so what happens, all those homes that come on the market, you're right. I'm going to give you your knuckle, but you're right. In fact, and this is where you can use something like a prop. You see, last year at this time, or 2 years ago, or COVID, and I'll use my farm area. I got a 5,000 acre home. I'm located right in the middle of it. During COVID, we had 13 houses for sale. No, do you know how many are for sale now? No, 180. So what that does is put downward pressure on price. So let me ask you, if your home is worth less every day, do you want to sell it sooner or do you want to sell it later?
I'd like to sell it sooner.
Of course. Now, going back, and I'll show you my pricing graph here in a minute. It's behind me. It's kind of a mess because I've been doing a lot of drawing on it. The past sales have been between 1.5 and 1.6. Now, if you've got a stagnant market or a downward pressure market, you're going to have to pay some attention to what? The competition, to the unsuccessful sellers, the actives. Is it possible that the active listings, if the market's trending down, now I'm not talking about the sellers that are smoking sweet and low, that are asking way too much for too long. I'm talking about, is it possible that some of the listings coming on the market are lower? Are you seeing that, you guys? Are you seeing that, Breckenridge?
Oh yeah, like if somebody's priced at 1.5, the next one comes on at 1.4. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah. So you're going to have to pay attention to the actives. So I'm going to go back into roll. So again, no fingerprints on this. 1.5 to 1.6. What number did you have in mind? And I missed your first name because you introduced all of you guys.
It's Ann.
Ann, okay, Ann. So Ann, 1.5 to 1.6 is what the past sales. Now we've got a couple new listings that are on the 1.75 too. So based on this information, what was your expectation?
I was kind of hoping to be at 1.55.
Okay,
Is it
now
Wait, no.
Oh, okay,
I'm
sorry.
the seller.
I'm going to introduce you to what I call the better way. In fact, is there somebody here that would like to demonstrate this? Because I'll give you guys a look. I want you to show off, because you've been studying this, what I
Me?
call the better way. Who wants to do it?
I can do it.
All right, Sam, take it from there.
1.55, right?
Yep.
And then I'm speaking to Ann.
Yes.
Ann, if we were to agree initial position your property at 1.55, are you ready to move forward with me today?
Yeah.
Okay. Now you agree to move forward with me today. May I explain it to you after we initial position your property at 1.55?
Hang on. Now, stop just a second. The beginning of the better way is, don't have your discussion, I call it the tug of war, the Jello wrestling match on positioning pre-commitment. Have it post-commitment. Are you getting me on that? Why? Why do I say that? Because that's 100% their number. So, Ann, based on what you know about the market, Fan, I'll come back to you in a second. Can you say with 100% certainty, well, let me just go back to, so Ann, all right, so you wanted to list at 147 something, right? Under 1.5.
Yeah.
Is it possible that that house could sell higher than what you said, or even as much as 1.55?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it is possible, probably not probable. I mean, your weather person gives you a range of temperatures for this weekend. And you're in Colorado, you said it was 30-some degrees in the morning and maybe 68 in the afternoon. I doubt there's no trend, there's no pattern in history that you're going to have a 2-foot snowstorm this weekend. You know, it's probably a low probability, right? So what Fan did was, the better way is, okay, if we agree to start there, are you going to hire us? Now, a couple things have happened here. Number one, you're going to get the commitment before you have the conversation. Write that down. It's the knuckle bump before the conversation about the pros and cons of that positioning. And that's something else we do and work on. That's just my little stick. I never use pricing. I always say positioning, because positioning is more than price. In mastery, what we want to help you do is have a conversation and a methodology to not only, there is a range, sure, but we want to help you get the upper range of the upper range. And when you do that, you're more than free to that seller. Fan, one thing I'm going to coach you now. This is what you need to say, in my opinion, to be really clear. Okay, so you said, so if we agree at 1.55, you're going to hire me? And you said yes. Fan, here's how I would do it. Great. Now that we've agreed to work together, may I share with you what's going to happen next? May I share with you some pros and cons? May I strategize with you about some pros and cons of that positioning? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now you're having kind of the same conversation. However, you literally or figuratively moving your chair to their side. Hey, we're working together now. Let's strategize about pros and cons of positioning. Fan, does that make sense to you?
Yeah, for sure. Wording.
It is wording. Breckenridge, you follow me so far?
Yes.
Now, really quick, I'll put a bow in. Well, I'm going to put a bow in it here. Let me see. I have to move it over. If you pin me, you might be able to see this. If you have your phone out, you may want to record this part of it, or you can just go watch the video on YouTube. This is my pricing. This, I think, is the two methods of positioning. So I'm talking to a fan now. I'm just going to make you the seller now. And we talk about the market, 1.5 to 1.6. And let's say, let's just say, well, I'm going to change the scenario now. Many times I'll go on a listing presentation and they have not. For example, I'm going to ask them, fan, hey, look, if we agree at 1.55, are you going to hire me? If they say no, well, first of all, don't even bother having the pricing conversation if that's not, if there's something else keeping you from working together. I can tell you, if you're working on mastered right now and you're somewhere on that path, you probably have developed or in the process of quickly developing mastery skills. And there's people out there that will, once they recognize that, they will take your information and give it to their brother-in-law's best friend's boyfriend's cousin as the agent to list it. Now, that doesn't mean they can get it done, but they're going to use your information. At some point in time, I don't give my information away freely. I don't go into the strategy of positioning with a number on it unless they're going to elect to work with me. So if I were to say, fan, hey, if we agree at 1.55, are we going to work together? And you'd say no.
No.
What am I going to do? Okay, well, I'll tell you what. Let's table positioning and let's talk about why that was not a yes. Let me stop and let me breathe a little bit and come talk to me. What are you hearing?
I
What
might
would
come
be a-
with an objection or?
Well, anyone can. So yeah, what would you say if you were that seller?
Yeah, well, Denny, so here's the thing. So other than price, I feel like, I need to interview more agents that's behind you.
Okay. All right, so great. So we'll leave price off because basically if you're not going to hire me, what difference does it make what I think about the value? Write that down. Now that is a fastball right there. Because what does a seller do many times? You know, I mean, I'm not referred to them. They don't know me for a reputation or whatever. They just, you know, they just pick out a couple of names and they have interviews. What happens? Well, what do agents do when they go in and they know they're competing for a listing? What do most agents do? They bid it, right? Tanner.
They agree to everything they want, pretty much.
Well, they know they're in a bidding contest and the bidding is for asking price. And what is the seller then going to do? Well, I mean, most of the time within some realm of reality, they may go with the highest one. And when they do, they've just selected the least qualified agent to do it. Now I will go into you didn't have to film all that. Now I will go into, I tell you what, you know, I'm not going to get into specific positioning, but I will share with you the process I go through. All right. So then I would draw this on a piece of paper in front of them. You can see this line here, that's dollars. And this line here is top dollar. Now, most sellers in Florida want top dollar. I've even met sellers in Florida that want more than top dollar. However, you know why they call it top dollar? Because that's top dollar. Here's what I want you to write down. This is an axiom in real estate. The top market value of a property cannot be predetermined. It must be exposed to the market first. Write that down. How many people here, and again, if you can come off camera, I want other people to see you. How many of you have experienced the property? You did your market analysis on it and the market, and you did it the best you could and you were wrong. It sold for more or it sold for less.
More often, very often.
So why do we guess? And again, I'm not going to get into the weeds here on valuations, but there's some ebb and flow. I mean, okay, so you got that. Top market value is not known until you expose it. Somebody on here that's one of my regulars, would you please share? And Polina, you're welcome to put this in the chat because I know what it is. When you are preparing for your presentation with a seller, and this is good for you guys in Breckenridge, only state what you know. What do we know? There's three things we know that when we go in and do a presentation on a listing on positioning, what do we know?
What's sold?
What's that called? It's a P word.
Past sales.
Past. What else do we know?
What's on the market? Present sales.
Present. What else should we know?
Pending,
Trend.
trending.
Do we know the future?
No.
This is bulletproof, guys. Everyone who goes in there with a CMA that does not go through a training like this, yeah, we look at past sales. Everybody does that, right? That's how you determine maybe what the trend of weather is, what the weather outside is. So you have the past, there's your past sales, here's active. Here's the chessboard right now with our actives on the market, your competition. Gary Keller says we should know the trends. We should be the local economist of choice in real estate, and you guys should know the trends. True? Anything beyond that is a guess. Fair enough? So our weather channel will have the weekend forecast. Big deal, it's Friday. Your app on your phone, it'll go out 7 days. Sometimes we'll have a 10-day forecast. The 10-day forecast is based on what? Past years in the last week of July. Present conditions, what's going on with high pressure, low pressure, etc. And then what are the trends? Will they predict what the temperature will be 10 days out? No, they give a range. And barring an outlier, we could have a hurricane, they're going to be right. Are you okay with that? So if you're going into a listing presentation and you're telling them what it's going to sell for, you are predicting the future. If you go on and say that basically if you want the top of the range, it's going to take 30 the 60 to 90 days to do that. You are predicting the future. If you're going to say, well, if you want to sell your house quick with multiple offers, we have to go 2% below the range. You are predicting a future outcome. You got that, Breckenridge? Now, there are two philosophies in selling. Breckenridge used one. I'm going to show you the other. And I'm going to make the statement, although I can't prove it. Both methods may end up at the same point. However, if you're going to go, I'm going to call it the Breckenridge method right now. If you're going to get them to price it low in order to have multiple offers to bid it up, I think you're going to get resistance from a percentage of sellers, because to me, it's like asking them to hop out of a plane without a parachute. Don't worry about it. We'll have several on the way down. The other method is to price it higher where they want, position it higher. That's their number. And if you're wrong, you can come down. So that's what I do. So I'm going back to you, Fan. Hey, listen, so I understand you got some other people to meet. And let's say I've gone through all my magic tricks. Who remembers Felix the cat? I got a magic bag, right? And I've gone through all my tricks, and he's still going to interview. He'll press me for price. I said, I'm not going to go into that. I'm not going to give you my strategy of positioning unless I have the agreement that you're going to work with me. So, but I will share with you the philosophy. Number one, if that line is not known until we position it on the market, then basically you have two choices. We pick a number above what we think is above that line. What might be aggressive? It might be aggressive based on the past sales. It may be your number. It may be your number of 1.55. I call that point A. The good news is if we're wrong, we can come down. Or we can take a more aggressive approach, maybe 1.475. And maybe we'll have multiple offers, and maybe it will be bid up. That's point B. If that's the case, where would you like to position your home? Now, if you can get this concept and be able to go through this concept, I believe you will have the most powerful positioning presentation that exists, because this system is 100% simple, and it's always right. So I'm going to stop. So if you were recording that, good. I want you now to, if you want to build on this, fine. Because I mean, I've been talking most of the time here, and I don't know if I've lost you and you're playing Call of Duty or what. So talk to me.
Denny, I'd like to ask you something. So with the trends, obviously, there are different properties. Those are like, regular ranch homes, and those like fancy ones that sell over $1 million, whatever it is, more fancy ones. When you do the trend, would you do it specifically according to the property styles? You know what I'm saying? Not everything in one. Would that make
Yeah. However, yes. I mean, obviously, if you do condos, talk about condos. You do waterfront. So based on your segment. And there can be some minor differences in segments. For example, in our area, Southwest Florida, and Florida in general, we're in a seller's market. We have more inventory now than we've had probably in 15 years across the board. So in the condo market is even worse. That's the good news. The bad news, the condo market's worse. So yeah, you want to be product specific. However, just speaking, I'm just saying this, and it may or may not be true, but I'm just think it's true. If you're in a seller's market for homes, and I'm going to take in all price ranges, and I'm not getting segmented here. Most likely, you're in a seller's market for everything. For the buyer's market for homes, most likely you're in the buyer's market for everything. Now, it's different in different price categories. However, the temperature right now in my house right now is, I don't know, not 93. My office is a mile away. I'm guessing, and that's commercial. I'm residential. I'm guessing it's 93 over there too.
Thank you.
You follow what I'm saying? So if your market, if you're in the only way to know what's happening with the trend wise, and this is big, guys, this is really big. If you only had one gauge on your car, one gauge on your airplane, one gauge to run your real estate business, the gauge would be the change in inventory. Don't worry about pricing. Don't worry about past sales year over year. If inventory is building, I promise you, buyer market weather is on its way.
Can I ask a quick question? If you've
Yeah.
gotten the commitment from them and you're going into this conversation about positioning and they're pushing you on, well, what is your point A and what is your point B? How do you respond to that without putting your finger on a number?
Well, fair enough. Well, I would say, okay, well, point A is if the range of value is 1.5, what did I say, 1.5 to 1.6, yet the market's going down. So that's the range. We don't have any data points above 1.6, and that was 3 months ago. So it's probably going to be at the top end of that range or at the midpoint because you know the market's slipping down. So you can say, I mean, your past sales are, the range will be in a flat market or upward moving market. Your past sales will show you what the low end of the range is. Now, in a downward moving market, the low end of the range may be your actives.
So if I'm actually role playing this example out and I'm going through this with them, I would say, I'd say, the past sales show us that our range is somewhere between 1.5 and 1.6. We can take two approaches here. We can price near at point A, which is going to be towards the upper end of the market. It's not going to be quite at that high end because we know, as we discussed earlier, and you told me, you feel like the market's not working in your favor. Our other option is to consider point B, which is actually going to be below the low end of the range. That's going to help us potentially move things along a little quicker, get multiple offers. Where do you want to be? Do I say it just like that?
Well, no.
Okay.
Almost. I'm going to ask you, what did you hear her say that basically had her fingerprints on it?
Multiple offers.
Multiple offers.
That's one. By
Okay.
golly, if you give me shampoo and you say you use this for a week, Denny, you're going to have hair like Brad Pitt. I'm expecting that. What do you think, Sean? Well, you'd use it too, probably, right? Now, so you made a prediction.
Sure. Yep. Okay.
So you take the prediction part out. If you just take the information we went over, so the low end of the range, the point B may be, most likely would be somewhere below these past sales,
Okay. Point B.
which is true, but did I give her a number?
No.
Now, here's a question, a dance question, and I want someone, and I'll give Colorado the first, or Breckenridge the first opportunity to answer this because I won't say anymore. I won't give it away. How many people have had a home on the market and had multiple offers, right? How many people like to have a home on the market and get multiple offers, right? How many people thump their chest because they had multiple offers and they think it has something to do with their marketing?
Inventory.
Or
No.
inventory would be a part of it. Listen, there's only one way. It
Right.
has nothing to do with you and your marketing. There's only one way to have multiple offers.
Price.
Price what?
Price right.
Low.
Yes. But
Or
all right,
low.
so give me a parallel that someone would understand. I use it all the time. Give me an analogy that sometimes you got to get out of real estate to help them understand the concept of real estate.
$100 bill.
There you go. What is it?
Who's gonna bid on $100 bill? Only if you
Yes.
price it.
The only way you can have multiple offers, I'm asking you guys, Breckenridge, and the only way to get multiple offers is to ask something less than $100 for a $100 bill.
Okay.
Is that right?
Yes.
So every home that you sold that you had multiple offers on, it was not your marketing.
Correct.
Because if it's your marketing, why can't you reproduce it every time you do the same marketing? You can't. It can have to do with your conversation with them on positioning. So I'm just going to say this, going back to the better way, and I'll shut up. I like the better way. If they want a number that's higher than what you think it should be, it's their home. I close. If we agree on that 1.55, are you ready to move forward? Great. Knuckle bump. Now that we agreed to work together, can we have a conversation about the pros and cons of positioning?
Can we have a conversation about the pros and cons?
Yeah.
There is no sin, no major sin. And you'd have, if you don't like the word sin because it may be referred to as some sort of a concept that would be spiritual and you don't want to go down that road, there might be a synonym. There's no, I'll just say it, there's no sin or penalty on initial positioning. The penalty is being wrong and leaving it there. Now, there's some people that argue that if you don't sell it, if the days on the market add up, it can hurt value. I have a thought on that, but I don't want to take time right now to go through all that. I want to say somehow I've taken the better part of this whole video for this hour to talk about strategic positioning, and this is all Matthew's fault. He brought it up. I don't know. I don't know. I would talk to Joe about the 1-year listing. No, there's no wrong, but do I want to be with a seller for a year?
Probably
No.
not.
It just sounds a little intimidating. And also, I think one little thing that Denny mentioned, if you even like without, I never say 6 months, I say like 180 days. I think days make it look like it's kind of shorter, but if you say a year, it just comes across more lengthy.
So what else is next? Come on, guys. I'm here for you. I don't do a good job of getting
I have
interaction.
an objection.
Okay, Maria. Other than me talking a lot, that's probably your objection.
No. So can we play a scenario? You're a for sale by owner. Paulina and I knocked on your door before you were on Zillow as a for sale by owner. And you said you have friends in the business. If you want to talk to an agent, you have someone in your sphere. And then months have gone by, and you're now putting your house on Zillow as a for sale by owner. So I want to give him a call.
All right. Call me.
Hi, this would be the owner of 123 Main Street.
It is.
Hi, this is Maria with Keller Williams. Can I ask you a quick question, and then you can decide if we talk?
What are you? I'm pausing here a moment. I mean, your accent sounds familiar. Have we met?
Yes, so my sister and I, we actually knocked on your door a few months ago.
That's right. You guys were the twins, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So I see your home going on the market. So not in the market, but on Zillow. And I just wanted to check in and see if anything changed.
Well, I don't know what you mean by that. We were trying it. We were trying it ourselves. Now we have it on Zillow. So that we decided we needed to have a little bit more exposure.
Mm-hmm. And how's it going so far?
But it's only been 5 days.
Right. And have you had any people look at the home?
We've had a number of calls. Probably most of them are real estate agents, of course.
Right. Your phone is probably busier than in the flower shop right now.
Yeah, right.
Well, let me ask you this, Denny. What circumstances need to take place for you to even have a conversation with an agent?
So I'm going to stop you just for a second. You gave me a scenario that basically when you had the conversation, they were going to list with someone they knew.
If they weren't able to sell it on their own.
Well, okay, no wrong. I always look for something that in their conversation that is puzzling to me. Like, well, I remember when we met. you said that if you weren't successful, you're going to go with someone, you know, you knew that was a real estate. I mean, and did you give them a call or if you know something about your past conversation, this is just a general rule. If you could always refer back to it to remind them, that might help them put things together. I mean, I already gave you the do because your accent. And if you ever, and this is just for you guys, and if you guys don't have a twin, go find one. If you're there together as a twin, I promise you, you will stand out. Listen, my twin sister and I knocked on your door not long ago. That's all you'd have to say. How many times you've had any twins knock on your door? So I might have said something like that, but let's go back to role play. Yeah, you know, let's say you asked me that question. Yeah, I got a friend in the business, but I still think I could do it on my own.
Right. And what prevented you from using that friend in the first place, Denny?
Well, they gave me some advice. You know, I talked to them and, you know, they told me where I should price it and it should be all right. And they said, hey, look, if it doesn't sell in a couple of weeks, you know, call me.
What if there was a way to get an opinion from a third party, someone that's not your friend, something that you haven't heard before? Would you take it?
Well, probably if I was desperate enough, I would.
Well, let's say that your tactics right now do not work. Would you then be open to hearing a third party give their opinion?
Yeah, maybe in a month or so I would.
Mm-hmm. The reason why I'm asking, Denny, is we just got a home under contract right down the street from you, and we found the buyer for that home. So do you think it could benefit you to even have a conversation with us?
Now, there's something going through my brain right now. I wonder if you guys are thinking it. That is an interesting piece of information. How many of you would have led with that earlier? Hey, Maria, this is Denny. My twin brother and I were, no, I'm not calling. I'm calling you up. Hey, Maria, this is Denny with Keller Williams. You may not remember me. Me and my handsome twin brother knocked on your door not long ago, and we had a quick conversation. And I'm just following up with your home because I see it on Zillow. Do you have a quick second?
Yes.
Well, the reason I happened to going through Zillow is that we had a house down the street, and I remembered your home, and we were able to find a buyer and sell that. And I was curious if you'd like that same type of help with your house. I don't know. If you've got that, that is, and you know me, you guys, one thing I want you all to get better at is analogies, what I call parallels. So here's another one. I say this all the time, and part of it is to keep you awake, but I want you to be thinking about it. It's like growing up in Ohio, we played a game called euchre. 4 people play it. I don't think 2 people can play it. Maybe they can. I don't know. It's 4 people play. But the order of the cards are very important. That is what they would call a Bauer in euchre. That is a very strong. If you have a track record in a neighborhood, or if your office sold a home and you're calling a buy owner or an expired in that neighborhood, that is power. So I would keep that early. Why? Because when you make a phone call, you've got to get their attention. We call it the bull ride, but that is some pretty powerful information. And by the way, if you had the listing and you sold it, what might you have? A few leftover buyers interested in the area?
Denny, but then if I was a seller, I would say, great, if you found a buyer for your listing, how about you bring a buyer to my listing? And then I'll pay you a commission.
All right, I love that. Now, what have they just done? When they say that, and you can ask the question if they're going to pay, do you go, oh crap, we're going down the wrong road now? Or do you say, oh, so you're willing to pay me, 2.5%, right?
Yes.
And so may I ask, why are you attempting to sell it on your own?
Saves the commission.
And how much are you attempting to save?
3%.
Well, that's a better answer, because most of the time the sellers, or many times the sellers will answer there, I'm trying to save 5 or 6%, right? Well, they're going to pay half of it out. So now you know that they're going through all of this work and all this stuff that for 3%. So if you had to slice the turkey to show your value, half the commission is gone. And so, well, if you're trying to save some money, I mean, there might be I mean, would you be willing to hire an agent if the fee was like uber competitive? I mean, if it's crazy, and this is Matt, let me ask you a crazy question. Would you hire an agent that was charging a fee you couldn't pass up?
Like what number?
I'm sorry?
What number?
Well, would there be one that would interest you?
I don't know. I would have to think about it.
Well, what I'm attempting to do, we're trying to whittle away 3, let's say in this example. Well, what if somebody said they do it for 2? Would you do it?
I can still do it on my own.
How about 1.5?
Sure.
Well, now I just cut the fee down from 3 to what?
1.5.
1.5. You could easily sell your value. What you want to do. So do you get where I'm going with that? Does that help you at all, Maria, in that role play? I don't know. Maybe you wanted to take it further.
Let me take it further. Let's say 1.5. Then do I have to jump into, would you hire me if I was free, or would you do another approach?
Well, Maria, may I ask you just one thing now? If you tell them that directly, if there was an opportunity to do business where I can guarantee you save that money, what would stop you from meeting with me so I can show you that? Be just direct, or if they're really serious, they would allow you to come and show them. But if not, then there's no point to waste time. I presume.
Yeah, yeah, but you got to be careful. We talked to Breckenridge about putting their fingerprints on it. When you say guarantee a certain outcome, you kind of are putting your fingerprints on.
The way I would guarantee then, when I get there, slicing the turkey, like that, the 10,000, 15,000, whatever it is, that I guarantee they would be, I would save in that money. Wouldn't it work that way?
Yeah, you could. I mean, if they're willing to do it, I would expect them to say no at 1.5. Okay, how about 1%? How about 1%? How about 0.5? What they might never say. What if it was free? I mean, if the best agent in town, very reputable, said, "Hey, you know what? I like you. I'll sell your house for you. Unless your best friend, would you let them do it?"
Of course.
Well, they're not my best friend, but what if I could do that? Would you listen to me for 15 minutes?
So how are you gonna do that? So you're gonna charge me 0% and just put my home on a multiple listing service?
What do you do for a living?
I'm a financial advisor.
So people pay you money to invest their money, right?
Yes.
And you work off a fee.
Yes.
I don't know what it is. I won't ask you, but it's probably like 1% or something or 2, right?
Yes.
So how long you been doing it?
30 years.
It can't be that difficult. I mean, all you have to do is like go online and buy stuff, sell stuff. It can't be that difficult, right?
Sure.
So if I were to invest with you and you were to return on my $100,000, 4%, and I paid you 2%, what did it cost me to do business with you?
Wait, say that again?
If I gave you money to manage, would you manage my money?
Yes.
And let's say you charge me 2%,
Mm-hmm.
but you invested and I earned 6%.
Mm-hmm.
What did it cost me to do business with you? Do you see where I'm going? I mean, the answer is what? Nothing. I made money because I hired you. Do you think the same could be true in real estate? You guys, one thing that I think is underused. When you run into kind of the stone wall, can you parallel it with what they do for a living? If they think we're all the same, ask them what they do for a living. Is there any profession out there or service that people are just as competent or incompetent after 5 years, 10 years that they are when they're brand new? You could be a lawn man. I just had an air conditioning service person here. I mean, I could have gone on YouTube and figured out maybe what was wrong with I just did this. I just gave this example the other day. Anyone could put a dryer vent in. So I watched about 40 minutes of dryer vent videos on YouTube. Big fat waste of time. Then I made a list and went to Home Depot, bought $130 worth of stuff. Then I went over to the place where I'm putting the dryer in and spent an hour or 2 hours putting that together. And it didn't work. Would it have been better for me to hire someone to do that? Yes. So going to what they do for a living and knowing how, I mean, one day we'll do it maybe we'll do it on a mastery. I'll give you a profession, you know, and see if you can draw a parallel. Everyone is better after time. Selling a house is not hard. Investing in stocks is not hard. Picking the right stocks is hard. Getting it sold for top value at the upper range of the upper range is not easy. It takes skill. And we work in an industry that if you can fog a mirror, pass a test, that the public generally thinks we're the same. We are not. Anything else you want to talk about today? This is our hour, so I don't have to go. Did you hear something that you learned? Breckenridge, I lost 2/3 of the audience. Did you hear something you can use?
Oh, sorry.
Yes, I like that conversation about positioning and everything. I think that's super helpful to figure out how to put that without putting our finger on the price.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with, you can get, here's my bottom line on that. If you can get them to go to point B with typically it might be bid up. There's nothing wrong with that philosophy. Because I think starting high, coming down with proper position, repositioning or being bid up, theoretically should end at the same point. The challenge I have, and my hypothesis is there's more sellers that would be afraid to go with the lower number than their initial gut feeling to the higher number. So if you go in there and you suggest they offer $98 for their $100 bill, and they say, okay, well, I'll get back to you. And I go in and they want to offer $102. And I say, okay, it might happen. We'll try it. I think I will win that battle more than lose it.
Yeah, I think I position that kind of already, but I do put my fingers on the price. I usually talk to them about that range and like you can start up here and then we might have to come down through negotiations or reductions, or you can start here and we'll likely come up. But I definitely put my fingers on the price. So I've got to work on getting rid of that out of my conversations.
You just did it again. Likely.
Yes.
May. May.
Yeah.
And it actually also works, it's similar situation with the buyers, because buyers may ask, how much should I offer? Say they offer,
Oh my gosh.
how much more should I offer?
More agents shoot themselves in the foot when they answer that question for buyer. And I'm sorry I took the whole hour to talk about sellers. There is a specific way you should be working with buyers on that too. And if you want to talk about that, we can do it next week. Sean, Matthew, John, Michelle, Mercedes, Harry, you guys, anyone have any comment?
I really like that how you describe with the financial advisor, and that's just such a intricate way to describe that to them, and I'm like, oh my god, I didn't even think about that. So that was pretty cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, Danny, we need to practice that analogy, the position, I mean the profession analogy. Like, what if the prospect give us like objection from the analogy and stuff like that'll be pretty cool, but just something to think about.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it'd be kind of fun. It'd be a challenge, you know, like give me sub-vocation and let's see if we can make an analogy out of it. Everyone has done something, okay? I'm a housewife. No, not me. Okay, but they are a housewife. Could you do that? They didn't have a job. Oh yeah, tell them that. Yes, they did. I mean, raising kids, anybody can do that. Managing a household, anybody can do that. Really? I think it's a skill. So, all right, you guys, you're not gonna talk to me. If you've not joined my YouTube channel, please do it. Go to Denny's Mastery before you pass go and sign up. I want to grow that, and I'm really working at becoming a little bit more proficient on making these recordings, chopping them up, and making them bite-sized. So thank you for being on. If I can help you, email me, Coach Denny Grimes at Gmail. Coach Denny Grimes at Gmail. Right there it is, right there, I think. Nope, that's not it.
Thank you, Danny. Before we go,
All right.
I'm just curious about the book. Any update on that?
Yeah, it's coming. The book is coming out. Here it is. It's coming soon. If you want the QR code and want to know about when it comes out. The goal was to have it out by my birthday or the rough draft, which is this week. And it's in the oven. The
Can you
cookies aren't.
can you pre-order with this? Not yet, right? You couldn't pre-order with this.
No, but if you send me a couple $100, I promise I'll send you a book.
Well, I want 20 copies, man.
Can you go back to the other QR code?
Yeah, sure.
So thank you, Danny. Appreciate the
That's the QR code for this class. I mean, this is Zoom call. All right. Again, Coach Denny Grimes at Gmail. If I can help you, give me a shout. Thank you for being on today. Have a great weekend. Love you, mean it.